Final update. My parents publicly humiliated my kids at Christmas dinner, saying they weren't welcome there. So, I quietly packed up my family and drove home. A week later, my mom called, sobbing about her leaky roof, and that's when I knew I was finally free. Part 3. Give in, just fix it to make it all go away, I said to my mom. I'm not going to pay for your roof repair. There was a stunned, ringing silence on the other end of the line. I could practically hear her brain short-circuiting, trying to process the impossible words that had just come out of my mouth. What? What did you say? She finally stammered, her voice trembling. Did I hear you right? You're not going to help us? That's right, Mom, I said, my voice still steady, still calm, but now edged with a newfound resolve. I'm not going to pay for your roof repair. You're going to have to figure it out yourselves. Another silence followed, longer this time. Then, slowly, like a wounded animal lashing out in pain, her voice changed. The tears vanished, replaced by a cold, hard anger that was even more chilling than her earlier hysteria. You ungrateful, selfish son, she hissed, her voice dripping with venom. After everything we've done for you, after raising you, feeding you, clothing you, this is how you repay us? By leaving us to rot in our own leaking house? Mom, I sighed, the old familiar weariness creeping back in, but this time it was different. This time, it wasn't just weariness, it was detachment. I was watching a play unfold, a play I had seen countless times before, and I was finally stepping out of my assigned role. Mom, you chose to humiliate my children at Christmas. You made it clear that they weren't welcome. Well, fine. I'm taking you at your word. My family and I are no longer welcome to be your financial safety net either. How dare you? She shrieked, her voice rising to a deafening pitch. How dare you compare a little misunderstanding at Christmas to our actual, real-life emergency? You're being ridiculous, petty. You're just punishing us because you're still upset about those silly presents. It wasn't about the presents, Mom, I said, my voice hardening. It was about how you treated my children. It was about the message you sent them, and to us. And yes, Mom, there are consequences for actions. This is one of them. Consequences? She spat. You think you're teaching us a lesson? You think you're punishing us? You're punishing yourselves, you idiot. We're your parents. You owe us. No, Mom, I said finally, completely breaking free from the tangled web of guilt and obligation that had bound me for so long. No, I don't. I don't owe you anything. I've paid my dues and then some. And then I did something I had never done before. I hung up. I hung up the phone on my mother. The silence that followed was profound. It was the silence of a dam breaking, of a long-held breath finally being released. It was the silence of freedom. Sarah was watching me, her expression unreadable. Are you okay? She asked softly after a long moment. I looked at her, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I smiled, a genuine smile, not a forced, polite smile, not a weary, resigned smile, but a real, honest-to-God smile that reached my eyes and lifted a weight I hadn't even realized I'd been carrying. Yeah, I said, the word feeling strange and foreign and utterly wonderfully true on my tongue. Yeah, I think I finally am. The fallout was messy. There were more phone calls, of course, raging phone calls from my mom, pleading phone calls from my dad, even a surprisingly reasonable phone call from my brother Mark trying to mediate and see both sides. I held my ground. I repeated my mantra calmly and firmly, I'm not paying for it. You need to figure it out yourselves. They tried everything, guilt trips, emotional manipulation, veiled threats, even outright begging. Nothing worked. I was a brick wall, a polite, calm, but utterly immovable brick wall. Eventually, they stopped calling. The silence stretched out week after week, month after month. Christmas came and went. We spent it at home, just the four of us, Leo, Lily, Sarah, and me. The kids were still a little subdued, but slowly, gradually, they started to heal. We made new traditions. We focused on creating our own joy, our own warmth, our own imperfectly perfect Christmas. And something amazing happened. Without the constant drain of my parents' financial needs, without the emotional weight of their expectations and criticisms, our lives blossomed. We had more money, yes, but it was more than that. We had more energy, more space, more peace. I started to rediscover hobbies I had long neglected. Sarah started taking art classes again, something she had always dreamed of doing but never had the time or money for. Leo and Lily, they just thrived. They became more confident, more outgoing, more themselves. It wasn't easy, of course. There were moments of guilt, moments of doubt, moments when the old ingrained programming would kick in and I'd almost reach for the phone to call my mom and offer to just help out a little. But then I would remember Leo and Lily's faces on Christmas Day. I would remember the cold, dismissive words, the casual cruelty, and the guilt would fade, replaced by a fierce protectiveness, a quiet, unwavering determination to build a better life for my children, a life free from the toxic undercurrents of my family of origin. It's been 2 years now, 2 years since that Christmas, 2 years since I hung up the phone on my mother and hung up on the good son act forever. My parents and I are estranged. We haven't spoken, haven't seen each other. Mark calls occasionally, usually to relay some dramatic update about my parents' latest woes or to try half-heartedly to get me to reconsider. I listen politely, offer non-committal responses, and then I change the subject. I don't know if we'll ever reconcile. Honestly, I don't know if I even want to. The silence, the space, the freedom, it's been too precious, too hard one to risk losing again. Maybe someday, when Leo and Lily are older, when they can make their own choices about their relationships with their grandparents, maybe then things will change. Maybe then forgiveness will be possible. Maybe then healing can truly begin for all of us. But for now, there is peace. There is quiet. There is the gentle, steady hum of a life finally, gloriously my own. And sometimes, in the still of the evening, when the kids are asleep and Sarah and I are sitting together, just being, I can almost hear the faint, sweet sound of that leaky roof finally being fixed by someone else with someone else's money, and it sounds beautiful.